Well, good morning, sports fans. This beautiful Saturday morning, March the 5th, 2011. You're listening to the Cheap Seats, and that radio station that you're listening to is 96.3 WLCN. The Cheap Seats Sports Open Line, bringing it to you live from Graue Incorporated this morning. Cameron Kurtz out here with you, and along with my co-host Josh Komnick. And Joshua, we have a pretty good show lined up for our listeners this morning.
Yeah, a lot of high school regionals. Well, wrapped up. Unfortunately, we're not part of it. The Lincoln Railers, of course, lost Tuesday night, but that exciting regional at Roy S. Anderson Gymnasium wrapped up with another great game last night. Morton winning 52-51. We'll get into that. Talk about some of the area. Basically, all the area schools for basketball are done for the season, and we'll talk a little bit about the Central State 8 teams that are still playing or the ones that got beat last night also. So basketball still in hot. Conference tournaments picking up now for college. Illinois got a big game. It's win or maybe not make the Big Ten or maybe not make the NCAA tournament today. So a big day over in Champaign also.
And also, we'll be talking news coming out of the NFL with that collective bargaining agreement. Also, spring training is starting up for Major League Baseball, and Josh and I will kind of get just a few thoughts there on the Cardinals and Cubs. And then also, in the second half hour of the show, from 9:30 on, we will have the three basketball seniors from Lincoln, and assistant coach Eric Ewald will be in with us later on in the show. But Josh, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. That Class 3A regional championship game that you were talking about, it went down last night at Roy S. Anderson. Morton comes away by the slightest of margins, 52-51 over the Lions of Lanphier High School. Morton, the winner of the Lincoln 3A regional, will go on to the Decatur MacArthur sectional, along with the winners from the Bloomington, Decatur Eisenhower, and Mahomet Seymour regional. So pretty evenly matched sectional coming up here. A lot of those area competition schools matching up against each other in the regional. Unfortunately, Lincoln did not advance to the regional championship, but nonetheless a hard-fought effort by the Railers earlier this week.
Well, we talked about it early on when we found out the seeds and the teams that were going to be in this Lincoln regional, and we said it was anybody could win it, and that's exactly what happened. The fourth seed, Morton Potters, came away with the regional championship. They, of course, beat Springfield on Monday night, and they went through the long haul. They went through all three games. Morton beat Springfield on Monday night, came back and beat Lincoln on Tuesday night, and then beats Lanphier 52-51 last night for the 3A regional championship. As you said, we'll move on to that sectional play starting Tuesday and or Wednesday. Brett Bisping, the man that really hurt the Railers, also continued to play well. 26 points, 14 rebounds for Morton. I thought they were just right now they're playing well, and Coach Al has always talked about it's you got to be playing well at this point in the year, and that's exactly what Morton is doing. Lanphier was led by Everett Clemens. He had 19 points. Larry Austin Jr. finished with 10 to wrap up the season for Lanphier. So Morton goes on. Southeast was also a winner last night, 79-70 over in that Decatur MacArthur regional. And I believe that's where the sectional will be played now, also at Decatur MacArthur. Southeast was a winner, 79-70. Jacoby Anderson had 27. Chris Davis with 30. So those two gentlemen led the way for Southeast.
Yes, they did, and those were areas that Coach Alexander wanted to focus on all season, and he stressed the importance of those areas. Over on the girls' side of action of high school hoops, the Class 3A and Class 4A state tournament was happening this weekend at Illinois State University's Redbird Arena, and a local team out of the Central State 8 Conference, Springfield, put up a pretty good effort yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, it was not enough. They fall to Lombard Montini, who is the reigning state champions in girls 3A basketball. Springfield was down 19-0 there at the start of the game. Made adjustments at halftime. I was in the house yesterday watching that game, Josh, and I liked the way that Springfield was able to rebound. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with that one. Also, Hillcrest defeated Chicago Marshall yesterday, so Springfield will play Marshall again today at 12:15 for third place in Class 3A if you want to check that game out.
Yeah, real quick, I've forgot about the Jacksonville, the last Central State 8 team that's still going, although they're not playing anymore. Highland defeated Jacksonville 47-45, so Railer fans, you've seen both of those teams this year. Highland, of course, was in that Chatham-Glenwood tournament, and a tough opponent for the Railers then. And they walk away with the victory, 47-45 over Jacksonville. So one Central State 8 team left, and that's Southeast to go on to the sectional.
And our congratulations and best wishes go out to them. Also would like to give a special shout out and congratulations to a couple of three-point shooters from Lincoln High School. First of all, congratulations goes out to Lincoln's Emily Johnson for making it to Redbird Arena for the girls' three-point showdown. And also on the boys' side, our praises go out to Will Podbelsic, Tommy Harris, and Jake Olson for their performance this week in the boys' three-point showdown. So, Josh, kind of wrapping up everything that we have here in high school basketball. This week is a week where the coaches and their teams that quite didn't make it in advance, now it's about the time where you have to start preparing for next season. And I know that it's maybe a cliche to kind of start that, and they say, well, it starts earlier and earlier every year. But I'm sure Coach Alexander will back us up and tell us that, hey, it's an ongoing process and it never really truly ends.
Well, a program that has built up and been built for Lincoln and the Railers, Coach Alexander, the coaches before him, has always been a nonstop. It's just like anything. If you want to become better at something, you've always got to keep going, because they always say somebody's practicing out there than when you're taking a day off. And it's we'll come back and we've got some juniors this past year that have got a lot of experience, some sophomores, even some freshmen got some experience in the varsity too. We're going to miss three seniors that we'll have here in just a little bit. Not only scoring but leadership, and those guys have been playing basketball for a long time, and that experience is a big key. So a lot to overcome, but Coach will have them ready, and the guys will work hard. Starting like you said now, and working their way through the summer, and before we'll be having Thanksgiving.
It'll be the Thanksgiving tournament.
Yeah, be coming
all
up.
over again.
We'll be wanting that meal and starting that tournament.
All right, on the college side of the hardwood, Josh, you said it best. It's make or break time for a lot of these teams that are on the bubble right now. Now is getting to the point where a lot of those conference tournaments for college basketball are starting up. Some of the smaller conferences are having their tournaments this weekend. The Big Ten will have their conference tournament next weekend, March 10th through the 13th. Of course, it's going to be played in Indianapolis at Conseco Fieldhouse. Illinois will host Indiana today at 11 o'clock over in Champaign. It is senior day for the Fighting Illini. Illinois did lose in the previous matchup against Indiana. That goes back to January 27th. 52-49 was the score of that game. Illinois lost over at Bloomington, Indiana that night. And Josh, kind of taking what the Illini got from that game and maybe kind of a learning process that goes into it, what are some of the keys that the Illini are going to have to focus on to make sure they get Indiana today?
Well, I think play with a lot of what they did against Purdue. Really a good game for the Illini against Purdue. It's just maybe Purdue might be the hottest team in college basketball right now.
Very much so.
There's a lot of things going on at Champaign today. You've got senior day. You've got a lot of festivities, parents coming back. The place will be rocking, packed. Plus, it's a rival in Indiana, so a lot of things will be going on. The Illini just need to get back to playing the way they were. Getting the ball inside, I think, a little more, not concentrating so much on the three-point barrage of shots, because seems like that's what they've been doing a lot lately, is just relying on the three-point line. And they've got the size, especially today against Indiana. They're taller, they're bigger inside, and they need a win, because a win here, I think, really shores up that they can get into the NCAA tournament.
And some of those teams that have been making a statement all year, and you take a look at the top teams in the country right now, you've got Ohio State, you've got Duke, BYU also is up there, Pitt's up there, teams that have been making news every single year. And now's about that time of the year where some of those theories that a lot of the coaches and scouts maybe had there around Thanksgiving and around Christmas time, perhaps after the New Year, you see a lot of those holiday tournaments. Now some of those fears are really becoming reality if you're an opposing coach for that. You've got Jimmer Verdette and Jared Solinger, who are some of the favorites to be National Player of the Year, and how dangerous these shooters are and how well they are a representative of their school. Josh, that's a true testament for how competitive college basketball has become. Not only that, but how fun is it to watch?
Well, it's competitive, and there's not really a dominant team. You've seen dominant teams in the past where they're going to run away with it, where you had those couple years where Florida was very dominant, and last year, Duke was, just really good, and this year I think it's pretty wide open. There's anybody could win it. You've got, of course, Kansas and Pittsburgh and Duke, and there's a lot of teams out there that have a chance of making. That's what makes it fun, right? Starting now,
Exactly.
The conference tournament, that Valley tournament is one of the best tournaments to watch, I think. Of course, the Big Ten tournament coming up. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good basketball, and kind of a crappy days like this is nice to stay in and watch something good on TV.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And if you aren't able to watch it on TV, a lot of radio stations have it out there that they're going to listen to. And Josh, that's probably a good comment that you made there. Even though the weather outside maybe isn't the best, but if you're a basketball coach, this is prime weather for you. We're going to step aside to grab our first commercial break of the broadcast, and when we come back, Josh and I will be talking about news from the NFL, and Major League Baseball spring training is starting up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on the Cheap Seats. And we're back here out on the Cheap Seats, out at Graue Incorporated this morning. Cameron Kurtz, Josh Komnick in the house with you this morning. And Josh, while we're kind of on the same path here, talking professional and college sports, let's kind of jump into a story that has been developing over the last several months. It's just been within about the last week or two where it's really had strong implications. But that collective bargaining agreement in the National Football League has expired. It expired earlier in the week. And I know that the Players Union and NFL administrators are hoping that they can kind of meet each other halfway on it, get some terms kind of drawn out a little bit on that. The collective bargaining agreement was extended by 7 more days. Josh, what does all this mean?
Well,
I know it's kind of it's a broad and vague question, but just as a fan perspective and a general observer of the game.
Well, two parties don't agree, and one wants one and one wants the other, and that's not a good thing. And I've really quit kind of following it because it's gone on so long, and at some point it gets to where as a fan, or at least me, you kind of give up on it and just hope maybe by the time the season starts that they'll have something in place and ready, or at least before the season starts, so they can get them some practices in and all that kind of thing. I don't want to see a strike or anything like that because NFL football might be one of my most favorite things to watch. They do a very good job of publicizing it, getting it out in the public. They just do a good job of advertising for it, and it's a thing that a lot of people watch, and hopefully they can get it all controlled out. What it's going to take, I don't know. Who's going to get the money, this, that, and all that kind of stuff. But let's just hope it gets ironed out, or I'm not going to have fantasy football next year.
Well, you may not have fantasy football if a lockout is indeed in the future for the NFL. Team owners are meeting with club presidents and front office personnel to kind of iron out the final details of that. As a fan, it's disheartening to realize that a $9 billion empire, a sport that rakes in over $9 billion a year, is having so much trouble with this. And if a lockout is indeed going to be, in hindsight and in the future for him, I think it's going to turn a lot of fans away from the game. It'll turn a lot of potential players away from the game. You have kids that, as young as the grade school and high school levels, they may be second-guessing themselves as to whether or not football is the sport to be getting into. Now, on that note, professional football is always going to be around, but it could hurt the sport as an entirety if a lockout does occur. Enough on that. We can go on that all day if you want. The Green Bay Packers did agree to a multi-million-dollar deal with head coach Mike McCarthy. A contract extension. Terms were really not disclosed. The Packers did not release that information as of this morning anyway. All we do know is that head coach Mike McCarthy will be back again next year and probably for several years thereafter, and as he should. Good signing. They won the Super Bowl. You got to bring him back. That's right, and you got to make sure that, common saying goes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. Well, hey, if the Packers keep on winning their ways, and they're going to be looking to repeat as Super Bowl champions next year. Also, an interesting story coming out of that's kind of tied with the NFL draft. A lot of those players, you had the NFL Combine there last week, and a lot of those college players, and some of those prospects that have been under the gun, so to speak, over the last couple of months, you're getting a chance to practice with teams and to meet with personnel to kind of see where is it that they're going to fit in the NFL. And probably one of the hottest picks this year, Cameron Newton, the quarterback from Auburn, may not be a first-round pick anymore.
Well, there's so many things that go into this draft and combine, and they take all these tests mentally, physically, that you just don't know what teams need, what they fit. There's just a whole lot of things that a lot of us don't see that they do with these guys, and to see if they're going to fit into the style that they play. Do they need an athletic quarterback? Do they need a drop back, just a passer? And, you know, Cameron Newton, I think, can do both. I mean, he's a proven winner. I really enjoyed watching him this year. And, you know, if you want a guy that will just look like do anything that you wanted to win, find a way to win, boy, it's sure tough to pass on a national, a national champion.
Major League Baseball spring training starting up, and Josh, it's not going to be long here before we're going to be talking Cardinals and Cubs baseball on a regular basis, but just real quickly, kind of from what you've gathered so far in spring training, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, you know, typical guys play a little bit, a couple of fights already in the Cubs locker room, which, you know, I'm okay with. Let's shake it up a little bit. Maybe the guys are feeling a little heat, a little pressure from the poor seasons of the last couple of years, whatever, really poor, I guess. So, you know, a lot of people are worried about that, but I'm okay with it. And I like the new manager. He's, you know, he's putting guys out there. He's going to find the guys who can play the positions and play them every day. And guys know now they're putting the rosters together 4 and 5 days ahead of time, so they know when they're going to play. You know, so I'm okay. Although the first baseman says in a quote the other day, "I'm not changing my stance. My batting's fine." Well, you hit 196 last year. Something's got to change, or
you got to change that style.
So you know, anxious to see. I think just the same old thing with all of spring training. The young guys get a chance. The older veterans get back in shape and get used to 95 mile an hour fastball and a line drive hit at you. So a lot of the same. Hopefully nobody injuries, although the Cardinals have been hit by injuries now. But that's the big thing is hopefully staying healthy until you at least get into the regular season.
And coming from a Cardinal fan perspective, those injuries that have plagued the Cardinals this year, hopefully Tony La Russa and the rest of the Cardinals staff can put a good ball club out on the field, and of course that is the ultimate goal each and every year. Some adjustments were made in the offseason as far as getting that roster built and moving players around. It'll be interesting to see, and of course the season isn't officially going to start for about another month or so, but it will be nice to see how it all plays out. Josh, we want to welcome a new sponsor on the Cheap Seats program here, the Rail Splitter Veterinary Clinic Wellness Center, located at the corner of Route 10 and Route 121. If you head down Keokuk there, you've got the junction there at Route 10 and 121 there. Bring your pets and family to a free photography shoot today, going on today, Saturday, March the 5th, until noon. You will receive a free 4x6 photo with your pet at no cost or obligation to you. That, of course, is at the brand new Rail Splitter Veterinary Wellness Center, located at the corner of Route 10 and 121. We'd like to thank them, a new sponsor on the Cheap Seats.
Yeah, and it's nice, and we enjoy all of our sponsors, and we thank him, especially for Graue this Saturday, for having us out here at Graue Incorporated. We're going to take a quick commercial break, be back with assistant coach of the Lincoln Railers, Coach Eric Ewald. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
And we're back out on the Cheap Seats from Graue Incorporated this morning, WLCN and WLCNonline.com. Cameron Kurtz and Josh Komnick, and during the break we picked up a third member here, Lincoln assistant coach Eric Ewald. And Mr. Ewald, thanks for being here with us this Saturday morning.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
First of all, how long ago was it that you decided to get into coaching? You were an athlete during your high school days. What was it that made you want to get into teaching and coaching?
Well, I guess, back when I was in high school, I helped coach my brother's little summer baseball team, and I've always been involved with athletics, always been part of the teams growing up, even at Chester East and at high school, and just had a natural liking for sports, and decided I wanted to, spend the rest of my life helping kids and being around kids and trying to be a role model, and so that kind of got me interested, and I just kind of stuck with it.
Now, you've been the assistant coach for 11 years, the head assistant?
So. I think so. I've kind of lost track.
It's been a while, but before that, you were the head sophomore coach, posted very good records there at the sophomore level. Coach Alexander decided, hey, I want this guy to kind of be my right-hand man when it comes to the varsity level. You see these kids every day, these players, and you get to interact with them on a one-on-one basis. Does getting to know these players on a personal level, how does that carry over into your coaching?
Well, it's very fulfilling. A lot of coaching comes down to X's and O's and trying to get the ball to a certain person a certain way, trying to attack a certain defense, trying to get your kids to move a certain way. But I think the most fulfilling part of coaching is trying to be a role model for kids, try to set an example for kids, and try to show them that how to be good sports, how to be sportsmen, how to conduct themselves as young men in the community, and represent their town and their team well. And that's something that we take very seriously. We have a kind of a saying: we want to win with class, we want to lose with class, and those are some of the attributes that we want to instill in our kids. And it's fulfilling for us to see our kids conduct themselves the way that they do.
Yeah, sitting with assistant coach Eric Ewald, the active steals leader out for Lincoln Community High School baseball. I believe was a catcher, a backstop, and still was a weapon on the base paths. But coach, 25-6. We end the season Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Maybe something that I feared, I guess, maybe all year was somebody throwing that triangle and two at us. Very tough. I remember back when I played, we were triangle and two'd, myself and Brian Cook, and it just didn't matter the talent. It didn't matter who's on your team. It's just a tough defense because you just don't get a chance to practice against it a whole lot.
It really is.
And and Morton brought that, maybe not at a surprise to you.
You know what? We'd actually been prepared for it throughout the year. We'd had several practice segments where we attacked it, and we have a triangle and two offense that we'd worked with. Even a day before that game, we knew it was coming. It would have been nice for it to have come earlier in the season, to have seen what it looked like under game, under game situations, because practice is always a little bit different than games. Though you try to make it the same, always a little bit different. But we were prepared for it. But since it came at the last game of the season, you can't go back into practice. You kind of make adjustments and look at tape and see where you can attack it a little bit better. So in that regard, it came at a bad time of the season. But it's definitely has been a nemesis for us, because it really forces. I think the key, it forces us to play in a way that we haven't played all year. You get used to playing these 25 games or 30 games a certain way, and then they throw this at you, and it forces all 5 kids to play in a way that they haven't played before.
Well, you're right, and you've counted on nearly 22 points a game from Jordan Nelson and nearly 15 from Nathaniel Smith. And regardless if the other 3 just shoot lights out, you're still missing almost over 40 points a game. And not only leadership, but guys that handle the ball most of the time are completely, you want to say, almost taken out of the game. And it's tough for them to get active, as you saw. You feel relaxed. You're face guarded, and this guy that's guarding you has no other being of wanting to guard anybody else or do anything else. All my job is to do is stop that Jordan or Nathaniel from even sniffing the basketball.
It really forces other guys than those 2 who are guarded on man-to-man to beat you.
Yeah.
It forces those other guys to step up and take a lot of shots. You can get the ball to your scorers, but when they catch it, it's almost as if they're guarded by at least 2 guys. They got the guy on a man-to-man, then they got a guy at the top of the key. If they beat their man, they got a guy on the block. They go baseline. So it's tough to play against.
Morton was a winner, of course, as we talked about earlier last night, 52-51 over Lanphier. So
they're playing great.
Yeah, Coach talks about
right now.
you want to be playing, of course, your best basketball right now, and we saw them earlier. Now, we were maybe the best game shooting-wise I've ever seen against Morton, our first time out, and you can't expect that again. But they kind of had our game circled again because they made the route. The toughest route to run through this regional was game Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. They did it all and were able to capture the crown last night. So you caught a team who plays very good competition up in the Peoria area, and you caught a team at the bad time for the Railers, good time for the Potters, but they were hitting on all cylinders, really looked in control the whole game. They were not pressured. They were not in a hurry. The Railers sometimes looked like we were in a hurry to get shots up, and just wasn't, you can plain and simple put Morton was better than us that night.
It was their night. They controlled, just like you said, they controlled the game. They controlled the tempo. They forced us to play, like I said, in a way that we're not used to, kind of out of our comfort zone. And they got a great team. Bisping is just playing he's just playing as well as a high school basketball player can play right now. He's controlling the paint. He's attacking the basket. He's getting rebounds and putbacks. He's hitting face-up shots from the corner. He'll step out and shoot 1 or 2 threes a game, and he makes it. And he's just playing really good basketball. And he's got a great support staff too there. And Lundine's a great athlete, the perfect kind of player to put in the high post. And if he doesn't hurt you scoring, he creates a shot for somebody else, turning and facing and attacking the basket. And of course they've got good guards, Swinford and Rossi, and
who both were the two that guarded Nelson and Nelson and Smitty basically the whole game. So you've got 2 great defenders in those 2 guys too.
And we haven't mentioned maybe their most solid player throughout the year in Hayden.
Right.
And he was sensational against Springfield. Just plays with such composure. Rarely makes. I mean, their whole team plays with great composure.
They're well coached.
Very rarely ever take a bad shot. Very well coached.
Now, when you take on a different opponent each and every week, many times we see the Railers in action Friday and Saturday night both. When you take on different opponents during the same week, how do you prepare for it differently? Are you thinking about Saturday night's game even on a Friday night?
Our schedule is usually set up to where we're playing a conference team on a Friday, and usually that gets the majority of our preparation. A lot of the teams that we schedule on Saturday night, we don't, like I said, prepare as much for. Though throughout the year, we have certain segments in our practices where we're working against a triangle and 2, working against a box and 1, working against a 2-2-1 press that we know certain teams are going to be playing. So we've prepared for a lot of our team. We know historically what teams have done to us in the past. So throughout the year, we're of course preparing for quite a few different teams. But getting closer to Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're pretty much zeroing in on that Friday night game, that conference game.
Or in the regional setting, you're getting ready for Tuesday, Friday, which is a whole different, animal that we're not used to, is playing those midweek games, and we know it's coming. It does it, and you like to see a midweek game every once in a while in our schedule, just because in regional you're going to see that. But Coach, 25-6, you've been here 11 years. A lot of great records that you guys have put together, season after season after season. 25 wins, 6 losses.
We're proud of our guys. I mean, we're proud of that record, and we told our kids at the end of the year at that last game, and that's always hard for our seniors, and it should be. They've invested so much time, they've worked so hard, and they deserve a good season. They've worked hard for it, and they should be proud of the season that they had. It ended too early. We would have liked to have gone further in the postseason, but they can hold their heads high knowing they won 25 games as a Lincoln Railer at the varsity level. That's pretty impressive, and we're proud of them.
That's right. And we are going to have some of those guys on here when we come back from a commercial break. We will have those 3 seniors from Lincoln. Assistant Coach Eric Ewald, we thank you for your time this morning, taking time out of your schedule with us this Saturday morning.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to go ahead and keep you here, but we will step aside and grab a commercial break, and when we come back, we will have those 3 seniors on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Out on the Cheap Seats 96.3 WLCN. Assistant Coach Eric Ewald has joined us this morning, and we've got 3 seniors from Lincoln High School that have also joined us this morning. We have Brant Coyne, Nathaniel Smith and Jordan Nelson. Fellas, thanks for being with us this morning. And Brant, I guess we'll go ahead and start with you here. Mental preparation for a game is always something that an athlete focuses on. Do you have any pregame rituals, or how is it that you mentally prepare?
Usually we get to the game. We're supposed to get to the game around 6 before the JV game starts, but a couple of us come around 5:15 or 5:30, and we go in the back and shoot sometimes, and sometimes we'll just shoot for a while until the game starts, and then we'll go into the locker room and just start stretching. That's what usually we do for the pregame.
And what do you think are some of the strengths and weaknesses that you tend to focus on kind of in those back gym shootings?
It depends if coach has us, if we're going to play a zone or a man, maybe just work on inside shots or man outside, because this year seemed that I shot a bunch of outside shots, outside threes. So whenever there was man, I would just work on the outside. In zone, I'd work on the inside, maybe free throw shootings.
Coach, 3 seniors here behind us that have been part of the program for a long, long time. Logged a lot of minutes out on the court at Roy S. or over at West Lincoln Broadwell or downtown at the junior high. These guys have been dribbling the ball around town for a long time, and it's you get guys that are seniors and you get them graduated, but when these guys, I remember all 3 of them when I played, just run around the court after the game and things like that, and somebody that's been a part of the program or the school or the tradition of Lincoln, it's not only missing their basketball experience, but that passion to be a Railer.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to miss them. I mean, these are 3 seniors that have provided leadership for the team, have provided leadership for the program, and their skill sets that we've seen progress and develop throughout the 4 years of high school that inspires our kids, our young kids, when they see how Brant Coyne, who can not only post up but also can step out and shoot threes. You see Smitty can do the same thing. You look at Nelly, who can do pretty much anything with the basketball. We get a lot of guards that come in that just want to shoot threes, and we can say, well, look at Jordan. He not only hits threes, he can get to the basket, he can dribble, pull up. Look how he works in our shooting drills. Look how he works on his pull-up game, and that's inspiring for our young kids. So they've set a pretty high standard for some of these kids to follow.
Yeah, Jordan Nelson right at 22 points a game this year. Nathaniel really had a great second half of the season. You're talking about all-around game, just at 15 points a game, almost 6 rebounds per game. And Brant Coyne, 6 points, huge winner at Lanphier. Hits what he called his maybe his only ever time. A bunch of his buddies came and ran after him this time. And Brant was the big winner. Not only that shot, but for Brant, those couple big rebounds, 4 big free throws, a lot to remember from all 3 of them.
Yes, definitely. That's certainly a moment I'm going to remember for a long time, seeing Brant hit that in the corner. That was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, especially when it goes in and you win.
Definitely. I know. Yeah. Brant, what are some of your future plans that you have here?
For college, I'm going to go to ICC and play golf.
Play golf. Okay, so now that basketball is kind of done for you, what's been the best memory for you wearing a Railer uniform over the last 4 years? I mean, aside that three-pointer, that's probably the pinnacle of your career. But what's maybe another one?
I think senior night was probably one of the best memories that I'll always remember from being part of the team, just because I think the atmosphere was just crazy, and just winning the game and having all 3 of us seniors. I think we all played a pretty good game, maybe some of the best of the season. So it was just a good way to end off the seniors.
Brant, if you can bring one thing out of your career at Lincoln, not only basketball, we're talking basketball now, but you played golf and you're going to play golf in college. What's one thing that Coach Al or these coaches have, or the program has taught you for, that's going to help when you go to ICC and play golf, or for school, or for life in general?
I'll always remember all the coaches always said, always work hard, and Coach would always get into us about playing hard, even on like defense or going through offensive plays. Just always remember, just play hard and just work as hard as you can, really.
Great. All right, go ahead and pass it on down here, and we have Nathaniel Smith on with us. And Smitty, When you have games that are Friday and Saturday night both, we asked Coach Ewald this question, and let's kind of get a player's perspective on it. But when games are Friday and Saturday night, both nights, what are some of the things that you do to prepare for each game differently?
Friday you got school to deal with, so you kind of...
That always gets in the way. I never understood why we had to do that.
The school days seem like it takes forever. Each class seems like it's 2 hours long instead of an hour long. For Saturday games, we get up and we have a walkthrough usually at around 12. So you get focused for that, then you go home and kind of just relax and then get to the gym early, get some shots up or get to the bus, and stay focused on the bus and be ready to go.
What are some of the things that you try to do to be a student of the game?
If we're watching teams that we're going to play on film, or if they play before we do, see what they do, see how they guard people, see what their defense is like, offensively see how they attack zones, things like that, to see where we as a team can attack them, and be successful.
Smitty, you've been practicing basketball, never really had any time off, if you want to call now time off, although I'm sure you're honing your game in for the hopefully the college level. But now that the season is over, what are you doing with your time now? Because it's probably been a long time since you've had a month off of basketball, or a couple weeks even.
Yeah, I've taken the last couple days off because I really don't know what to do. Just kind of been relaxing at home. But next week, I'm going to get on a lifting program, get back in the gym, just get repetition and try to get bigger and stronger, try to prepare myself for college.
Yeah, we saw this year, I think really a quarter of a season where, and maybe you can say a little bit about it too, but we thought we could get more from you. And then after that at one point something clicked where, I'm going to start going to the hoop. I'm going to start being a more aggressive. When was that point, and what made that decision?
I think it was at the Southeast game when we played at their place.
Yeah.
Coming out of Collinsville, the coaches were talking to me about getting to the rim. My dad was saying something about it. So I kind of just, down there at Southeast, I kind of focused on getting to the rim. We got shooters like Nell and Brant who can stroke it, and we needed some paint scoring, So that became my focus, and once I started getting to the lane, I got more confidence in myself, got to the line a little bit more, and confidence was a key for me.
Yeah, indeed, you got to the line a lot more, went basically from probably around 9 to 10 points a game and worked it up to 15, Coach, and that was a huge key for the Railers. Early on in the season, we were shooting the three really well, but as we have seen throughout the season, that goes down, and you always have to have those easy baskets. And Smitty, throughout the regular season, was able to do a great job of getting to the rim. And we talked about it. If you don't get to the rim, there's so many good things that happen when you get there: layups, free throws. You get fouls on other guys, other opponents. That's a huge key for against us when we get in foul trouble. Let's try and get at those guys, and that's what he did.
Yeah, certainly something that was missing in our last game against Morton when we got to the free throw line just 2 times. I think we only shot 2 free throws. But yes, Smitty was certainly great at getting to the rim. We wanted to. Matter of fact, Coach did a great job of putting in some different sets for him to where they were just clear outs for him to get the ball in the baseline and just take the ball to the basket. And we spent probably that last quarter, maybe second half of the season, working on that, and that proved to be really effective. Something that kind of our program was missing, where we had some sets to get the ball in the block. We had quite a few sets to get threes, of course. But we didn't have as many to get our kids to the rim, and that really helped against, like what he said, at that turning point against Southeast down at their place.
Right. Smitty, you've got some interest from the college level. Can you give us a hint of who that is, maybe, and what if you have not made a decision on who you're interested in, and as long as that they're interested in you too?
Well, I've narrowed it down to a couple schools. Loris, which is a Division III in Iowa, Parkland over in Champaign, a couple other schools here and there. I'm going to take a couple of visits coming down here, and then I'm going to make my decision. I'm not going to rush anything. I don't know what I'm going to major in yet, so that kind of plays a key role too.
Sure.
So I'm just going to take my time with it.
Good deal. Go ahead.
One thing, real quick, one thing that you're going to remember from being a Railer, Coach Al, Coach Ewald, and part of the program, kind of like what Brant said, just being, what are you going to bring out of from being a Railer and going to school at Lincoln High?
Well, I'm going to remember it from when I was a little kid to start, always admiring the bigger kids, wanting to be like them. And then being the bigger kid, the coaches have always done a great job of not only teaching you lessons on the court, but life lessons as well. Enjoy life every day. Whatever you do it hard, go hard. If it's not in the job or if it's a sport, or and enjoy friends and family too. They've done a great job of teaching us that and then instilling that in our brains. So I'm gonna take that and then just missing putting on that red, green, and white every night. That was great.
All right, well, Smitty, we thank you, and go ahead and pass it on down there. And our final senior that we have on here this morning, Jordan Nelson. And Jordan, things have been said about you over the years as one of the more talented players in the Central State A Conference. Matching talent with talent, what are some of the things that you focus on? You see other sharpshooters from the conference. Just an example, you've got Larry Austin from Lanphier and Jared Sargent from Sacred Heart Griffin. Kind of matching talent with talent there.
Right. Larry Austin's, he's got a good body for a freshman. He's going to be something special later on in the years. Sargent, like you said, he can struck it too. But the one thing I evaluate most is usually the shooting off the dribble. I think that's what really my focus was coming into high school. Not just being a spot shooter after the first couple of years. I had to really create for my own junior and senior year. So,
Jordan, what are some of the things inside conference play? Who is your favorite conference opponent, or if you have a non-conference opponent that you like to play?
Definitely Southeast. That was probably our biggest challenge throughout all of high school, so it has to definitely be Southeast.
Yeah, you've got that rivalry. I mean, if I would have scored 48 against Lanphier, I sure would have said Lanphier. But Nelly, talk us through that game. Of course, the single game all-time leader in points, 48, past maybe the best, Chuck Verderber. Talk us a little through that game, although it was a great game. Really, I thought no, not really any forced shots. You were making them. Guys got him the ball, and boy, it's nice to almost hit 50.
Right, yeah. Like you said, guys got me the ball, so, the credit goes to all of my teammates for that. Finding me when I'm open, getting me the ball when I'm making shots, and, in that fourth quarter, I kind of just, when Smitty got in foul trouble, kind of decided to, step up a little bit. So things started falling, getting to the basket. You definitely get to the free throw line for sure. And help with a couple of technicals, so.
That probably helped you out there. Yeah, those free throw shots there. Jordan, been playing basketball for a really long time. Coming from West Lincoln Broadwell, you got a chance to play with Brant junior high, and even got a chance to play with him in high school, though. But what are some of the things that wearing a Railer uniform in high school, what are some of those things that it means to you? And for some of our younger listeners out there who want to play in the Railer basketball program, what do you have to say for them?
It definitely means a lot. It's probably one of the greatest experiences that you're ever going to go through coming out of Lincoln High School. Looking back, everyone used to play every sport back then, but, going through Lincoln High School, you got to give basketball a shot. It's just something it's a tradition there. You have to give it a shot, no matter if you play or not. You got to try and stick with that. You're going to enjoy every moment you're out there.
George, a lot of some schools wanting your services for the hardwood. Give us an update on where you're at, maybe with the college you're going to attend, and if you know your major, or if you've got some still not quite decided on the school.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really decided on the school yet. A few are in touch right now, kind of like, ISU a little bit, Evansville. SIUE is giving me a full ride, but, like I said, it's just going to come down. Like Smitty said, my major, I'm not really too sure, but I think it's going to be sports administration, being athletic director somewhere, so.
A lot of different things you could do with that sports management, sports administration degree. Well, we thank you for being on here with us this Saturday morning, and a talented bunch of seniors that you've had the pleasure to coach with over the last 4 years. You've had them in the classroom, and a great group of kids. And I know I speak for a lot of Railer fans when I say they will truly be missed.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, we thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to be here with us. We're going to go ahead, step aside, and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will have Chris Graue Cheap Seats program this morning, Cameron Kurtz and Josh Komnick. We were just finishing up our interview with assistant coach Eric Ewald and our 3 seniors, Jordan Nelson, Nathaniel Smith, and Brant Coyne. We were going to have Chris Graue, general manager from Graue Incorporated, on, but Josh, he had to step aside and finish up some paperwork here with the customer.
Can't pass up the customers.
That's right. And but some of the things, though, that Chris did want us to mention are some of the great incentives that they have going on out here at Graue Incorporated. General Motors still has that owner loyalty cash going on. If you currently own or lease a General Motors vehicle from the last couple of years, they have that owner loyalty, which I believe is $1,000 in extra owner loyalty cash to be applied to the purchase of a new vehicle.
Yeah, and I was driving through the lot myself this morning as I got here early and checking out the used cars, trucks, everything. You can, if you're not wanting the big gas price, they've got plenty of little small size cars that I'm sure are excellent on the gas mileage.
And one of those cars that's on the good gas mileage that Chris pointed out to us last time we're here, and it's right in front of us here in the showroom this morning, is the Chevrolet Cruze. That is a newer concept model that Chevrolet came out with just this year, I believe the 2011 Chevrolet Cruze, and it's great as far as gas mileage goes. Actually, for the size of a car, you wouldn't expect, though, that it would be good on gas mileage.
Looks nice to me.
Pretty good size vehicle there, and also a great line of Buicks that they have out here. Of course, GMC trucks. Just a lot of great things. Used cars. Graue's probably got one of the better selections of used vehicles in the central Illinois area. And Josh, it's about that time. Spring is upon us here in the next couple of weeks. You know, maybe it's time to look into that summer sports car. Maybe, you know, put the top down, roll the windows on back, and just, you know, drive.
It would be nice. As long as you buy, I'll be willing to drive.
Josh is saying that if I buy, so what Komnick is saying, Kurtz, you go ahead and flip the bill for it, and
right.
I'll be behind the driver's seat there. But we thank Graue Incorporated for having us out here, everything that they do for our program. And Josh, we got a couple of local things that we want to talk about here before we sign off.
Yeah, the National Junior College Swim meet in Lincoln College is absolutely tearing it up. It is in Buffalo, New York at Erie Community College, and Lincoln has crowned several national champions already, several All-Americans. When we get that full list of national and see what they do after they win or after they complete the national tournament, we'll have the rundown. But I know there's some swimmers from Lincoln. Ashlyn Schlater, she's on the 200-meter freestyle relay, who is doing very well. They've got a 3-time national champion, the first ever 3-time national champion, Tyler Klingerman from Plainfield, Indiana. He's a 3-peat national champion, and he's headed to the University of Louisville next year. So one of the better programs in the nation, swimming, is right here in Lincoln at Lincoln College, and they are doing a very good job of it out in New York.
And our congratulations go out to the Lincoln College swim team. And also, Josh, I want to give a special shout out to the Zion Lutheran 8th grade girls team for making it to the Lutheran Sports Association state tournament, which is being held this weekend in the Chicago suburbs. So our congratulations and best wishes go out to the Zion Lutheran 8th grade girls. Josh, a lot of things in the sports world that went on this weekend, happening this week, coming up. We had Coach Ewald on, those 3 seniors, and what a pleasure it was to have those gentlemen on with us this morning. We kind of got constricted on time a little bit and wish we could have had those guys on for the full hour.
Well, they've given us a lot of memories, a lot of excitement through the last 4 years of Railer basketball, and that's been, you know, it's fun. To be a part of the basketball program, and you know, we're able to bring it to you on WLCN 96.3. But you know, those you get to watch a lot of good basketball, and those kids have done well for themselves only up till high school, and they have a bright future ahead of them.
Very deserving of their talents over the last 4 years, and Coach Ewald stressing the point, and all 3 of these seniors, somewhere in their answers, they hinted that the coaching staff mentally and physically prepare you for every aspect of life, and I can say that these 3 gentlemen will be successful in life. Our best wishes go out to them. Josh, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this March 5th edition of the Cheap Seats program. We thank all of our sponsors. Of course, we like to thank that brand new sponsor that we just picked up, Rail Splitter Veterinary Service. Once again, Rail Splitter Veterinary Wellness Center, located at the corner of Route 10 and 121. They've got a deal going on today, this Saturday, until noon. Bring your pet on out to the facility. Bring your pet and your family for a free photography shoot today until noon. A free 4x6 photo with your pet and no cost or obligation to you. Josh, next week we will be back out at Jake's Furnishings, 1100 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln, and we will have Jake, the furniture guy. Always good to have him on. That's where we're going to be next weekend. But until then, we're going to go ahead and have to sign off. For our technical producers, Paul Lakota and Tyler Jones, back at the station. For our general manager, Jim Ash. Our camera operator, TJ Trail. For my co-host, Josh Komnick. This is Cameron Kurtz signing off from Graue Incorporated today. We thank you for listening, and until next time, we'll see you down the road.